Welcome back, man. Shake the city. Glad to be back. We're on episode 3 right now. And today, I got something special lined up for y'all, man. A lot of people asked me to get this guy on the show, and I'm happy he's here. You probably seen him on Fivio's last album, man. You seen him working with K-Flock, Dougie B, Busy Banks, basically everybody that's hot in New York. And he's the owner of Off Record, bro. Welcome, A Lau in the building, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Nah, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, for real.
For sure, for sure.
So, yeah, man, this is Shake the City. Basically, before we jump into like what's going on today in the music scene and shit, we like to kind of go back and tell everybody like how you got started in this music shit and how it became from something that was just kind of like something you did for fun that into a career. You know what I mean? So, take us back to like how this whole thing first started for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I definitely, it's been like a long journey for me as a producer. I started probably like 2012, 2013 making beats, and like the first producer I was really around was Harry Fraud, and being around him, like a legend from New York who was making a lot of hot records at the time, was definitely like a Kickstarter for me as far as like not really learning how to make beats, more so than like the life of being a producer and being in the business and what it entails. And then around 2015, like I had built my own studio and started kind of making just trying to figure out my own sound. I was working a lot with the producer Tony Seltzer. We were damn near a duo at the time. We were trying to figure out new sounds, how to get with like the new shit that was going on, which we were really excited about, but also trying to have our own sound to it also. And yeah, it's just been, since then there's been the rise and fall of like a bunch of different waves, and like
definitely
being in New York, you're at the center of a lot of it, and so I've been lucky enough to be able to still be here making music and stuff.
Hell yeah, bro. I feel you on that. Like, you see like kids nowadays, they be blowing up at like 18, 19, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I put so much time into this, but some people, everybody's path is different, you know what I mean? So
for sure,
I respect that.
And also I wasn't a natural talent, so that's also a lot of the reasons it didn't happen right away for me. I had to learn how to do everything from scratch. It wasn't like I had a musical upbringing or anything, so when I decided to get into it, it was I knew it would be a long road, but it was what I was passionate about.
Damn, that's dope. Well, shit, so you spent some time with Harry Fraud, and it's funny because like I've been in the studio with you, luckily, and I've seen like the way that you create samples and how fast and quick you're able to do that, and the fact that you do such unique stuff in so quick amount of time. Like, did that help you, like just being around him? Like,
yeah, I mean, also like at the time the style was sampling, you know what
Facts.
I mean? So I had a lot of influences, but mainly just really learning off YouTube and stuff like that. Like being around Harry, of course, was a great advantage because I would see, but he was also very secretive with the way he made music. He wasn't really the kind of producer where you could look over his shoulder and see what he was doing.
Nah, facts.
So, again, like he taught me more about the life of being in music, and a lot of the sample stuff was just like what I loved growing up. Loved DJ Premier, Kanye, you know what I'm saying? Like sample chopping, Alchemist, like sample chopping in general was always something that kind of got me into making beats in the first place.
Definitely, bro. Did you ever mess with like LimeWire when you were like a kid?
Of course,
like,
yeah.
Yo, remember like that?
The Bill Clinton, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yo,
like,
I'm dead.
Half the shit you downloaded would just be Bill Clinton.
Yo.
And it would be titled like Unreleased Nas.
Nah, word. Yo, LimeWire had ill mashups though. It'd be having like Tupac like acapellas over like Nas
OG.
instrumentals or some shit, and I'd be like, yo, this is fire.
That you would find them always by accident.
Yeah.
Trying to look for something else.
Yeah, nah, those sounds, bro, like that era in music was like, that was a golden era. But
For sure.
yeah, man. So you spent some time with Harry Fraud, and then you kind of got into your own spot, the Soho spot, the first off record, and you know, I'm sure that was a blessing, like just being able to like utilize that spot. But recently, you kind of moved into like a much larger space, Midtown. How has that transition been, like going from like one room to like a whole floor?
Well, I would say like, you know, this studio is the probably like fifth or sixth studio I've had. Because
Damn.
before Soho, I had a studio in Gowanus. Before that, I had a studio in Park Slope. Before that, I had a studio in downtown Brooklyn.
Crazy.
But and before that, I had a studio in like Sunset Park. So,
Sheesh.
but all these studios before I made the actual brand off record
Right.
were just like little warehouse spots or like little shitty rooms that I could get for super cheap that I could just was cheap enough that I could make my own money, have a couple other people chip down on it, so like I wouldn't really be paying too much rent. So all those were like kind of practice to lead me up to getting the first off record, and I learned that, you know, I mean, really at first it was just a ploy as a producer to get artists in the space,
Right.
so they would fuck with my beats.
Absolutely.
And I would get people in, I'd be like, yo, I make beats, whatever, whatever. And it just ended up like we ended up doing really great tracking work for a lot of important projects in that, you know, 2016 through 2018 era, you know, like a lot of the SoundCloud stuff and that kind of music coming up.
Yeah,
So we got like a great, like it ended up turning into a great business.
Right.
Kind of, you know, just because artists wanted to come through and record. So, you know, once that happened, I was like, okay, you know, maybe we can grow this, because a lot of people in the industry, they don't just make money off the music they make. They have like implement other kind of business models that go in with it.
Definitely.
And yeah, so I was like, you know, let's take the branding farther. Let's make the place nicer. Like, let's find a better spot. So during the pandemic, you know, we found the spot that's our location now in Midtown. And yeah, we got the top floor of a building for like, you know, a good deal. But more importantly, it was like the kind of space we needed. And
Right.
it took a lot of work. We had to demolish the whole floor and build everything back up from scratch, pretty much.
Bro, a shitload of work. And
Yeah.
not only that, but having multiple rooms is probably super clutch, because you can just exponentially increase your workflow. You know what I mean? Like, you could be tracking somebody in one room while people are cooking up in another room, you know, like, but yeah, super dope, bro.
And also, like, you know, I've always kind of thought that like DIY studios are gonna kind of take over in New York, because a lot of stuff, you know, people can do themselves, so they don't need to really be spending $200 an hour or $150 an hour for a studio.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there are situations where you do need top of the line studios, but there's like this middle ground now
Yep.
of state of the art, like really nice studios with like really good engineers, you know what I mean, and kind of a community, which we kind of try to go for off record. And I feel like that's kind of what people, at least in this city, have been gravitating towards, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now that's a fact. So yeah, speaking of that, like building a community and stuff, like you have a lot of like producers that are working at off, like, you know, you got Eli, Zuko, Emerald's over there a lot, just to name a few. But how's it been, like, kind of, you know, looking more or less like looking after like these younger producers who are like kind of just getting into the game at an earlier age, you know, being that you have like years of experience, like you've been able to help them, you know, in terms of like dealing with placements and labels and, you know, making sure that things are correct, how they're handling, you know, the business side of things or anything like that? Or
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I give them, like, the most valuable thing I give them is knowledge. Like, that's the thing that would have had, you know, if you give them, if you actually honestly teach someone about the music industry, then they can skip years and years of
big time.
of, like, you know, failed experiments, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And I think that's like the biggest help. Obviously, them having a studio to make music at, and you know, being able to have access to artists because they have access to a studio is super helpful also. But I think, you know, mainly it's when they come in, I'm able, you know, I've had enough experience that I get to teach them a lot about what to expect and what's expected of them, I guess, if they want to, like, you know, and everyone has their own path. I try to steer away from like subjective advice and kind of just tell them about like how contracts work, how A&Ring works, all that kind of shit. And then after that, we really help each other, you know, like as producers, everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, myself included. So, you know, all of us making music together is like, it's mutually beneficial, you know?
Hell yeah, that's big facts. Yeah, so, you know, that kind of gets us back up to speed with like where things are at now. So, you know, you just had the Fivio album drop. That's super huge, major, shaking New York up.
Facts.
And you also had the Busy song just drop, like literally today, I think, right?
Yeah.
Which I actually like that song because it's like, it's got a different tempo than most. It's not like a drill record. It's kind of got like, almost gives you like an old like New York feeling, but with like a new age sound, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess that actually brings up the question like, yo, do you feel like more of these drill artists should like kind of switch up the vibes a little bit? Because I feel like that would catch, you know, people almost want to hear something different, you know, in a sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, like even with the Fivio album, you know, I had 3 songs on there.
Yeah.
And the only song that was a drill beat was the Say My Name song.
Word.
The other 2, Through the Fire and the outro, were...
The outro was tough.
And they were like, you know, they were just beats. Like they were, one was like a trap, one was like a Chance the Rapper. Like Through the Fire is like a Chance the Rapper type beat, honestly.
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to it, it's not a drill beat at all. And Can't Be Us is more of like a, you know, it's like an outro type beat.
Like
it has nothing to do with drill at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, Fivio is a good example of that. Like he took a lot of risks by making non-drill songs, but I think it paid off for him.
Yeah.
Because I think he would have gotten worse like critical response if it was nothing but drill songs. And you know, Pop Smoke did it too, which was like the breakthrough of his, you know, his album was that.
Yeah.
After Meet the Woo 2, like on Shoot for the Stars, like.
No, that's a fact.
I mean, Aim for the Stars. He, you know, he has mad different types of beats on there.
Yep.
So, you know, like I think obviously drill rappers need to have more. Like any rapper needs to have like variety in their production.
Word. Nah, for real. I feel like, I mean, and this doesn't go for everybody. This is just kind of like what you seem to see the most of when you go on blogs and stuff. It's like everything almost kind of starts to sound the same at a certain point, even voice-wise. Like, you know, you see these new up-and-coming artists who are like, you know, just starting to put out music. It's like they might copy like the K-Flock sound or like, you know, even the ad-libs, the voice and all that. And it's just like, you know, sometimes with certain artists, it feels like there's not really too much originality in there. But, you know, I like to see artists from New York kind of, when you're in the lab, do you like to push people to like kind of experiment a little bit?
Of course, but also, you know, at the same time, like, they said the same thing during the SoundCloud era, and I'm sure, like, when Biggie Smalls was rapping, like, they said the same thing, like, oh my God, everyone coming out sounds exactly like this person.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, like, when Elevator was super popping and, like, you know, like, again, 2016, 2017 era, when I was in the studio, everybody came through, played the same type of beats, rapped about the same subject matters.
Right.
Like, it was very, very like homogenous. But, you know, the thing about it is like the greats stand out. So it's like,
It's very true.
that's kind of just the give and take of new music is like, yeah, anyone can kind of participate. So you're gonna get a lot of people that aren't meant to be artists and aren't actually creative, like making music because it seems easy and it's very accessible.
Damn.
But only the really good ones are gonna end up standing out and like getting listened to after a period of time. So, you know, I don't think we're gonna get it. There's gonna be an end to people like taking their shot at making drill music. So,
Nah,
like,
facts. Yeah.
but you know, every now and then we'll get like a K Flock or a Pop Smoke or you know what I'm saying? Someone that stands out. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Yo, how do you feel?
Water?
I got you. 16 minutes.
Nah, I got you. How do you feel about like the Jersey drill sound, that like the Jersey club kind of mixed with the drill sound that's coming out?
It's exciting. It's like anytime they switch it up and like the beats change a little bit and like especially, you know, thank you. Like a new area, Jersey coming up. That shit is fire. Bandman Real is fire.
Yeah, he
I
is.
was in the studio. He was like teaching me how to make Jersey drill beats. 'Cause I didn't know how to, but
Nah, that's tough. Yeah, he's coming up. He's definitely coming up. Speaking of that too, like anybody else you really got your eye on, like you think is gonna really make waves that's, you know, kind of on the scene right now?
I mean, yo, in terms of drill, it's like one thing that the drill scene does have is like they're very up on reporting. Like pretty much anyone I'ma say
Yep.
is people that are, you know, getting talked about a lot already. Like
Yeah.
my personal favorites, like that I work with. So maybe I'm a little biased, but
Nah, that's okay. I mean, shit.
like Set the Trend, I think is really fire.
He is
Dougie B is
fire.
really fire.
Yep.
But again, like it's so many artists coming up, like every day coming and going. For me, it's like I'm kind of just seeing like where the scene overall leads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, my favorite song right now is by Groupthink, and they put out this song called Guilty Conscience, and it's like indie music. It has not. It's not even
Really?
rap music.
So
yeah.
so like some whole other wave, like.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like
That's dope.
like because I sample, I listen to mad other music. So
Yeah.
like the shit that I'm on at the time isn't necessarily gonna be like what I'm producing. You feel me?
And that's okay. I think you know, me personally, that's how I do too. Like I switch it up all the time. I might listen to some like weird house like underground vibes, you know what I mean? Like all the way down to like 70s records, all the way down to, you know, like anything and everything is never might find like Bollywood film music or something, you know what I mean? Like anything. But that goes back to your sampling ear, you know what I mean? Like you know, you could find like catchy gems in almost anything, you know, like if you know where to look.
It's a fact.
But yeah, yo, so yeah, I mean, anything you working on as of right now? Like, you know, like what's your days looking like? You know, what's a typical A Lau day looking like? You cooking up every day or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I try to keep like a scheduled day. Like I'm pretty ritualistic. Like I like to, you know, wake up, do my morning tasks, and then hit the studio, cook up as early as possible, just like while my ideas are still fresh. And then like the day goes one of two ways. Like I'm gonna either clock out like in the evening and go home, or like if there's, you know, a good session happening or something going on in the evening, then, you know, I'll stay up and do a double shift, I guess you could call it.
Shit.
But like what I'm working on right now is working on more busy music, working on Dougie B. We got some stuff dropping soon, and me and K Flock got some stuff dropping soon too.
That's gonna be big, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna shake up the city, man.
Hell yeah. And then there's this other group that's a duo called Girl Code. They're super fire.
I've been tuning into them. I've been tuning into them.
Fuck.
Yeah, they're mad lyrical, like.
Yeah, but they also have like very like their energy is very, I don't know, it's timeless energy. Like they got some fire shit cooking up for sure.
And it seems like they got like people gravitate to them, you know what I mean? Like whether it's online, like in the comments, or whether it's like everybody that I know that's like been around them.
But that's like, that goes to because that's about their energy for real.
Yeah, word. Nah, that's fire, yo. Well, shit, we definitely gonna look out for that, bro. But honestly, you know, that pretty much just sums up everything for Shake the City, bro. But definitely appreciate you taking the time to, you know, pass through and bless us with the knowledge and the gems and shit. And yo, you're welcome anytime, bro.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Guys.
you already know, bro. Shake the City, episode 3. We out. Bow. Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah, no